What is the language of focus? We've got awareness, focus, and executive attention. Awareness is, I'm on a beach. I'm aware that I'm on a beach. Focus is, I can feel the cool breeze or warm breeze on my face. I can smell the salt air. I can hear the sound of the waves. I can hear them crashing. I can notice whether they're crashing on the shore or receding based upon the sound. And executive attention or executive function is making the decision of, wow, those waves sound really rough. I can hear them crashing. I can really sense that the water is rough today. Maybe it's too rough for me to go for a swim. That's executive attention or executive function. And focus is therefore dependent on our ability to direct our attention to our goals. There's my goal. That's where I'm headed. That's what I want to accomplish. Coupled with our ability to filter out irrelevant distractions, whether those distractions are external to us or internal to us. That's why older adults sometimes have problems focusing in crowded restaurants. Their ability to focus on their goal of hearing and interacting with the people they're with is still very strong. Their ability to do number two, to block out irrelevant distractions and other conversations that are going on in their vicinity, that ability decreases with age. And so they find themselves not being able to focus, not being able to hear what other people are saying or follow the conversation. And it's distracting to them. The issue, developmentally, from an evolutionary perspective over tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, is that our ability to focus, to create goal set behavior, to say, that is my goal, that's where I'm headed, that's what I'm going to accomplish, that's what I'm going to reach, that has evolved beautifully. We are creatures who can set amazingly complex goals that have many multiple moving parts and subparts. What has not evolved as well is our ability to have cognitive control. And cognitive control is what we need to block out those distractions. Cognitive control is what I'm using when my cell phone rings or buzzes and I let it go and I don't pick it up to figure out what's going on. I don't feel compelled to have that immediate, what is happening with my phone. Researchers, this one is James Lang, and James Lang has written a fantastic series of articles called The Distracted Classroom. He wrote it in 2017. It originally had 4 articles that were part of it. He has since, in 2019, added a 5th essay to this research. And he has a lot of great suggestions for students and teachers, some of which I'll cover later, a lot of which I'll cover later. He defines successful focus as our ability to have very powerful goals. The more powerful the goal, the more we are intent upon achieving it. So the greater intensity to the goal, the better. The more powerful the goals that we set for ourselves. If you set a goal for me, it might not have very much saliency or relevance to me, right? I might go, I don't know, it's kind of important, but it's not really what I'm seeking to achieve, right? But if you set your own goal, you have the mission, you have the energy, you have the enthusiasm behind the goal, behind wanting to achieve that goal. The focus on that goal is higher. The more powerful the goals we set for ourselves, the more we can pursue those goals despite any internal or external distractions. That's a great definition. I have added to it cognitive control that I was talking about before. We have to have the ability to block them out. And what we're going to be working on today is developing that ability. And it happens over time. I'll be teaching you the tools and techniques. And by the time you leave here today, you'll have better skills in this area of your life. And then I'm going to recommend strongly that you then continue to practice those skills on a daily basis, because that's how you build the muscles. You can't go to the gym and work out once and have great thigh muscles or arm muscles, right? That teaches you the skill you need to do over time to develop those muscles. Likewise, we're developing cognitive control muscles. And as I mentioned, our ability to have cognitive control has not developed as quickly as our ability to set great complex goals. These are some interesting statistics. Looking at how long it took to reach a benchmark of 50 million users of these different technologies. It took 38 years for the radio to reach that benchmark. It took 20 years with the telephone, 13 years with the TV, 12 years with cell phones, and only 4 years with the World Wide Web, with the internet. Now, there is the point that over this period of time, the population has grown. So it makes sense that we would reach those benchmarks faster because there are more people in the world. However, you can see a definite trend to these statistics. When you take that and apply it to social media, now that we have the World Wide Web, we have the internet, it led to an explosion of the speed in which we reached this benchmark. With Facebook, we reached it in 2 years. With YouTube, we reached it in 1 year. And just for kicks, for fun, the researchers set Angry Birds in there and found 35 days. That's huge. And that's a huge source of distraction for a lot of people. I've had people tell me, I don't think I can stop playing. And it doesn't necessarily need to be this game. It could be any game that they love. I don't think I can stop. I've had people come to me for help me stop using this thing that I know is harming my life, and yet I can't stop it. And it's not drugs or alcohol. It's games, online games, computer games. And I love them. Believe me, my husband's a game designer. So we're a big gaming family in our house, and yet we have limits and we have control so that we can have focus in other times in our lives. We'll talk a little bit about what's the difference between just distractedness versus addiction in a little bit. And why is focus important? Focus is important because it leads to our ability to learn. We'll talk later when we talk about focus in the classroom that GPAs are lower when technology is present and kids can't focus, or when there's distractibility in the classroom. It impacts our ability to accomplish, succeed at our goals, whether we're at work or at home. And it impacts our ability to connect with others. And this is one of the things that I'm most concerned with. Because historically, connection has equaled survival, right? As part of a tribe, that's what kept us alive. That's what gave us the ability to thrive in our lives. And without the ability to connect with others, we really are going to have challenge, not just as individuals, but as a society as well. 3 different research studies actually have looked at interconnectedness and personal relationships with others when technology, a cell phone in particular, in these studies was present. And all of these studies found, now, in these studies, the cell phone was present but not in use. Maybe, we'll pretend like this is my cell phone. Maybe it was in the person's hands. Maybe it was just on the table and we're having a talk. Even having it present led to the respondent rating the conversation lower and rating their relationship with the person they're conversing with lower. Just by having it in the room, it's not even being used. It's not like the person's texting. Sometimes my kids, they'll be doing this and they're answering me. And I'll say, hello, hello. And then they'll look up and I'm like, there you are. I see your eyes. Now we're connecting. I believe it to be the case that people are thinking, if that cell phone's in that person's hand or on the table right in front of them, at any moment, that cell phone can buzz, beep, ring, vibrate, and that person's going to immediately turn me off, tune me out, and pick up their phone, right? So just having it present leads to a disconnect in human interaction. That's pretty scary because these are attached to people's hands a lot of times. And this presentation is not exclusively on technology. It's just one of the leading sources of distraction that we have. And so therefore, it's important to discuss because this can have really long-term impacts on us. And some people have actually argued, well, we have got neuroplasticity. Our brains learn and change and grow, and they adjust to these things over time. But they don't adjust in 35 days. They don't even adjust in a year or two. This happens over hundreds and even thousands of years. We do have a lot of neuroplasticity. We are great learning human beings. Neuroplasticity just doesn't stand a chance with this level of distractedness, right? So we've got to figure out a way to make it better.